this surprising news hit like a thunderbolt last night. Texas Rangers hiring former 14-year Major League Baseball veteran and three-time All-Star Bret Boone as their Major League hitting coach. Clearly had an excellent career, and now trying to get these bats going. And, JP, you got the scoop from Yankee manager Aaron Boone.
So, Adnan, we're at the ballpark yesterday going through our production meetings before the game. And just as we're leaving the Yankees manager office, Aaron says, hey, what do you got on the Rangers hitting coach search? Have you heard anything? I said, I don't know. I mentioned Michael Young. I said, maybe Michael Young, maybe one of the other guys with Rangers ties. He said, hey, when you figure out who it is, send me a text. See what I think about it.
That's what he said.
So this is at about 4 o'clock, maybe 4:30. And that post on X went out about an hour later. And I looked at it, I was like, come on, Aaron. He knew, of course, all along. So I'm in the dugout, like, before the game starts, like, right next to the camera well. And I get out my phone, I text, quote, text me when you hear it, end quote, and send it to Boone, Aaron, and he just responds with a laughing emoji. Like, JP, I knew, like, Aaron Boone had the scoop. But as I see Bret Boone be a hitting coach, two thoughts. I covered him 20 years ago with the Mariners, a long time ago.
Yeah.
What I wonder is, A, will his jersey say The Boone? Because that, of course, was his nickname, The Boone.
Great point.
And as a player, you guys probably both know this too, he used to have his bats arrayed around his locker in hot piles and cold piles. So the bats would come in, he'd take a look, he'd feel it, nah, cold. Good, hot. So he would separate them between the two. And I want to know, in case if as a hitting coach, which you've been in the major league level, is he going to have hot piles and cold piles?
Probably, because the superstition is so much there. I'll tell you what, I got a chance to talk to Booney last night, kind of going over, because I was in the same situation.
Yeah.
2023.
From a podcast to a hitting coach.
Podcast, yeah, to the hitting coach, just living life, and all of a sudden, 2 days later, I'm in Colorado. Well, he's living his life out in California. 2 days later, he's in Boston, getting ready to be the hitting coach. I think one of the biggest things with that I was saying to Bret was just be yourself, dude. Yeah. You're Bret Boone. You've had an incredible career. You've had MVP votes. You've been to All-Star games. And one thing that Booney said that I loved, and Mikey, you could touch on this too. He said, hey, listen, not only the success, I've had the failure. He said 97, he got sent down, ironically, and they called up Aaron Boone for 3 days. I don't remember that. In 97 with the Reds. Yeah. So that failure is a big thing. And I think when you're the hitting coach, especially for big league players, they're already there. They're already the best. They're already the best in the world. You're not going to come in and all of a sudden change everybody. You got to develop relationships. You got to develop trust with these guys and make sure they can talk to you. But at the end of the day, you become almost the sports psychologist. You become the guy that, hey, what'd you do when you struggled? I'm not seeing the ball well. Where did you go? And there's just a trust factor there. I think Booney's the perfect guy to go into Texas right now and get these bats going.
And I think when you look at his approach, I think it's a little old school, like Bochy is, because the coaching staffs now are so much bigger. Booney doesn't have to be the analytics guys. We got another guy to do all the stuff. He has to be more of the rapport and the in-game type guy, which I think is going to be a strength for him and for the Rangers. If you look at that lineup and you see, Simeon and Seager and Langford, there are guys that can put up real big numbers there. So I think this is a great opportunity not only for Booney, but for the Rangers to kind of turn things around. I hope that it's kind of like what you say. I hope that rapport goes quickly, because I found it quickly in Boston with Dave Magadan.
Oh, yeah.
It was a guy. Yeah, it was a guy who, and I remember I was struggling one time, and I was like, Mags, what am I doing wrong? He goes, you might be hitting the ball 2 millimeters below another time. He goes, the game is hard. So just kind of easing it into, it's not so mechanical, and your right shoulder and this, and you got a bat speed, you can almost, paralyze guys with all this information. Sometimes it's just, hey, you know what I want you to do? I want you to go to the film room. I want you to see your last 10 hits. I don't want you to see the hits. I want you to understand how you felt, how good it felt, how you were seeing the ball. And then that usually triggers that muscle memory into getting better at bats, better pitch recognition, and then better results.
I want to touch really quick on Dave Magadan.
By the way, former teammate of Bret Boone, played under Bruce Bochy back in 2000.
And I took some of the stuff that Mags had taught me in Boston. I remember, Mikey, you know this, like right at spring training, I was new with the Red Sox 08. He comes up to me, hey, listen, when you're going well, what are 2 things that you're doing? And I'd be like, okay, when I'm going well, I'm nice and easy, and I'm really going to left center. That's my. What about when you're going bad? You know what? That tension kind of comes in. I start getting pool happy. So he has that card for everybody. Mike Lowell, what are you doing? I'm getting tied up or whatever yours was. Big Poppy, I saw him do it. And then, so whenever you get into trouble, hey, man, just want to see it. You said that when you get into trouble, you're a little anxious and you get a little out front too much.
Yeah.
Stay left center.
Let the ball travel. Stay left center. All of a sudden, like, oh, my gosh. I thought it was genius because, like Mikey said, as a hitting coach, you want to keep this game as simple as you can because it's hard already. And if you can really dumb this thing down and get guys to know themselves, I think that's what great hitting coaches do.
As you said,